This is the story of the lynching of Mr. Bob Harper in Bowling Green, Kentucky. In December of 1892, Bob Harper found himself on trial in this exact building that still serves as the Warren County Courthouse today. He was charged with what appears to be an attempted sexual assault of Miss Katie Anderson in her residence on State Street. Miss Anderson was a 17-year-old white girl and the daughter of well-respected parents. It was said that Miss Anderson got a good look at her attacker during their approximate 3-minute encounter. Bob Harper was named as a suspect early on in the investigation. However, Miss Anderson specifically said that he was not her attacker, that her family actually knew Mr. Harper and he was in fact not the man. But that didn't stop Mr. Harper from being arrested and charged with the crime. In a Park City Daily News article detailing Mr. Harper's arrest, the writer jokingly said that though Judge Hines would preside over the case, a regularly called upon special judge, Judge Lynch, would probably take over soon. To save Miss Anderson from the embarrassment of having to give the intimate details of her attack, Judge Hines, a former officer in the Confederate Army, cleared the courtroom of all spectators. After providing the court with her testimony of the details of her attack, spectators were allowed to return to the courtroom, and they witnessed the prosecutor ask Miss Anderson if she could point out her attacker in the courtroom, a question he asked her a total of 23 times, to which they witnessed her answer with, she wasn't sure, or no she could not, or just remain silent and not answer the question. At some point during this badgering of a 17-year-old witness on the stand, Anderson calls out to her father, who's in the galley, "Papa, I don't know what to say." After the 23rd time of being asked the question, Miss Anderson reluctantly says of Bob Harper to the court, "He looks more like him than anyone I have seen yet." Bob Harper's attorney had 34 witnesses, black and white, who were going to testify that it would have been impossible for him to have committed the crime, including an off-duty Bowling Green police officer who was going to testify he observed Mr. Harper conducting business on Adams Street at the time of the attack. But the court didn't get to hear any of those witnesses. According to a Courier Journal article from the time, 50 men armed with shotguns and rifles entered the courtroom and took Mr. Harper away. They brought him to a place that's right near here, where 12th Avenue becomes Broadway Avenue. It was an area that served as the fairgrounds at that time. They stood him up in a wagon, tied a rope around his neck, and then tied it to a tree. The house behind me was actually here then and would have saw this happen. Mr. Harper's murderers asked him if he had any last words. He said, "I've done all I can do in this world to prove my innocence. I am innocent and will die with that on my lips. Never done anybody any harm." And with that, the wagon was pulled out from under him. And after several minutes of watching his body struggle, he became still, and the crowd dispersed. And Judge Grider had to issue an order for someone to cut him down.